Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. Right now the date is Sunday, July 30th, 2017, and the time is approximately 6 p.m. So today has been a really good day, and I will tell you why. No, well, for several reasons. Number one, let me just readjust myself a little bit, and my awesome audiovisual person will make sure that I'm still in frame. Okay, thank you. So, number one, it is extremely rare that I have the opportunity to spend an entire weekend at home. And this weekend I've been spending my time and energy on uploading YouTube videos and writing and editing and publishing blog posts on my professional, metaphysically oriented WordPress blog, This Is Who I Am. And I have also been extremely happy with the fact that I have not only 3 new followers on my professional, metaphysically oriented WordPress blog, This Is Who I Am, but I also have 3 new subscribers to my YouTube channel. And they are Chris Ann, and I hope I pronounced this person's name correctly, Kasha, and Lakeview Medium and Tarot, and that's all one word, all one phrase. Lakeview Medium and Tarot. I love it. I've talked about how every once in a while somebody will subscribe to my YouTube channel and his her or their username sounds so cool and so beautiful and so juicy. It's like, Lakeview Medium and Tarot, Jennifer Ball's Spiritual Garage. It's like it makes me want to dance. It flows. So I want to welcome them, welcome y'all. Some of y'all think that I'm from the South. I'm not from the South. I think I've talked about it in another video, but since this video is going to be more than 20 minutes long, I can spend a moment just talking about it. So several years ago, I had the honor and pleasure of participating in courses produced by an organization called Landmark Education Corporation. And one of the key, if you will, courses or workshops is called the Self-Expression and Leadership Program. And it's roughly when I participated in it, they might have changed it, but it's roughly 3.5 months long, and 1 weekend a month, usually a Saturday. So the person who led the one in which I participated, her name is Bert, which I would imagine is short for Bertha. And she was raised in the Southwest, so she would say y'all. So between participating in this 3.5 month leadership program, or self-expression and leadership program, and then volunteering to assist her during her next 3, or rather subsequent 3, self-expression and leadership programs, I became the only person in Union City, New Jersey to say y'all. So when people say to me, are you from the South? I'll say no. And when people ask me, do I detect a Southern accent? I'm like, no. So that's the extent of the y'all. That's the extent of my experience with the South. It's like y'all and an occasional indulgence of chicken and waffles with gravy. That's I don't even eat pecan pie. I don't even eat lemon meringue pie. It's just like, the few times that I eat pie, it's usually like a berry, like blueberry or cherry or strawberry or what have you. So that's the extent of my southernness, in case you're wondering. Okay, so want to give a shout out to Gothica, who was the first person to comment after I uploaded my very first tarot tag video. So thank you, Gothica. And of course, I want to lovingly acknowledge my dear friend and my fellow tarot enthusiast, Two Spirit. And I finally know his first name is Simon, which I think is so cool because that's a great name. And I must say, there was a portion of his video reply to my very first tarot tag video where he talked about how sometimes he feels uncomfortable with all of the tarot decks and oracle card decks that he has. And I really wanted to address that now. And I want to address that to all of you who also love collecting decks. So I look at it this way. Yeah, one of these, I don't know, I'm trying not to slouch, and I'm trying to be like, I look good. I'm going to lower the chair a little bit. Yeah, because this is important. I want to say about this. So, and I'm still in frame. Thank you. So, first of all, I truly believe that it is imperative to follow one's divine guidance, one's intuition, the still small voice, the voice that likes us. There are so many different phrases for what I love referring to as divine guidance or intuition. And the fact of the matter is that, we live in a world that is very challenging at times. And I truly believe that if someone has the means, and if someone has the opportunity, and if someone has the availability, then it really is in his or her best interests to avail himself or herself or themselves of any and all sacred tools and magical tools that make him or her happy and that strengthen his or her energy. Those of us that either have subscribed to Two Spirits channel or watch his videos without being a subscriber, we've seen how many gorgeous crystals he has and how many gorgeous tarot decks and oracle card decks that he has. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that if somebody were spending money on tarot decks and oracle card decks and magical tools rather than paying his or her rent, or rather than paying, for buying food or taking care of his or her pets or children, that would be another story. But, the fact of the matter is that Two Spirit doesn't have children, doesn't have pets, and, clearly having all the tarot decks and oracle card decks is working for him, and it certainly works for me. So, so to my dear friend and fellow tarot enthusiast and fellow energy healing practitioner, Two Spirit, also known as Simon, please, I invite you to surrender and release any guilt that you may have over, having roughly 80 tarot decks. Because I feel zero guilt over the, what was the number that I said in my tarot tag video? Tarot tag 8. I think I said I have roughly 250 tarot decks, including tarot kits, and I have roughly 100 oracle card decks. And I know that number is going to increase. I know that because I have clients and students and loved ones and friends that love giving me tarot decks and oracle card decks for birthday gifts and holiday gifts, and they're going to be receiving that list pretty soon. They might even receive more than one list. You never know. As I take a sip of Café Bustelo. So I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna share a little secret with you. So in addition to my awesome audio-visual person, also being my amazing computer tech person, he has other skills as well. And one of them is that he also makes very good food. He is a fantastic cook. And I have the honor and pleasure of having a cup of café con leche in my favorite mug, reminding all of us that something beautiful is on the horizon. And he made it with Café Bustelo, with milk, with sugar, with spices, and it tastes so good. I don't ask for this all the time because it's a treat. It's a rare treat. I don't take advantage of this. Oh, but man, if I was a different kind of person, I'd be like, hey, coffee, now. I don't want to do that because that wouldn't be nice. But that's how good it is. It's like, I would actually get on my knees and beg, and this bitch doesn't get on his knees for anybody. So what does that tell you? It's good. As I take another sip. Oh, man. And to think I used to poo-poo coffee. All right. So first, I want to welcome you. I got teary-eyed. That's how good the coffee is. So the main focus of this video, and I do apologize for the long intro. There were some things I wanted to acknowledge and needed to address. And, I like to stick to my index cards because they help keep me focused. But my intuition was like, yeah, I need to talk about these things a little bit. So So again, I apologize for the indulgence, YouTube. But I am officially welcoming you to my very first Oracle card deck or Oracle card tag video. And I'm so happy that my awesome audiovisual person is keeping tabs and I always flub that. Keeping track and keeping tabs of how much time is remaining, because I want to make sure that everything is seamless with this video. Okay, so officially this is called hashtag Oracle Card Tag 7. And I will include that in the description box and in the information box for this video, as well as the accompanying WordPress blog post for it. So at this point, I'm going to be doing the back and forth. I'm going to look at the camera, look at the screen, look at the camera, look at the screen. Sorry about that. So this is for those of you who primarily use Oracle card decks or divination decks, and for those of you who use Oracle card decks or divination decks in addition to tarot decks. And because I also love using Oracle card decks, I wanted to have a separate Oracle card tag. So this is hashtag Oracle Card Tag 7. Question number, meaning that there are 7 questions. Question number 1. How long have you been using Oracle cards or Oracle card decks? So for me, I've been using Oracle card decks a little bit less than using the tarot. I've been actively using the tarot since I was 16 and I'm 47, so you do the math. So I would say that since about the age of, I'm going to say since about the age of 30 or 31. So I'm 47 now. So I've been using Oracle card decks for a little more than a decade and a half. And I have a secret to tell you. So I think one of the most well-known names in Oracle card decks is Doreen Virtue. And there was a time when I was so enamored by and enchanted with her Oracle card decks that I almost decided to not use tarot anymore and only use Oracle card decks. I know, that is such a crazy thought. But that's how much they resonated with me. And, you know, in Two Spirits video reply to my Tarot Tag 8 video, he mentioned how sometimes he will pull an Oracle card for clarification. Well, I remember several years ago I was giving readings at a New Age club in Manhattan, in New York City, and I was giving readings for an accounting firm's holiday party. I only used tarot decks, but I distinctly remember I was divinely guided to pull a card from, I think I used 3 different Oracle card decks by Doreen Virtue, because at the time she only had 4 or 5. And I remember I would pull a card from any one of those particular Doreen Virtue Oracle card decks as a final message card. And I was just amazed at how incredibly accurate and incredibly on point the interpretations were. And, you know, I think that I think a lot of you would agree with me that a professional psychic or a professional card reader or a professional intuitive needs to have a really high level of accuracy, whether it's in the client's life in the here and now, or in predictions, or both. But there's, you know, it's like, it needs to really be a high level of accuracy, because I don't see a lot of people paying me money to give them readings if my accuracy rating is like, you know, in the toilet. So, but yeah, I was so enamored with them. And of course, you know, all these years later, I have thus far every Oracle card deck that she's created. And I've actually lost count of the number, but I think it's in the 20s at this point. And her newest one, Angels of Abundance Oracle cards, was only published a few weeks ago. And I have that, and I've been working with it, and I love it. And I also have all of her tarot cards, including I'm looking forward to her animal tarot cards, because I do love animals, even though sometimes I do eat some animals. But yeah, and being Cuban, I do love the pig. Yeah, I love the pig. Okay. Question number 2. what kinds of oracle card decks do you love the most? In other words, what are your favorite themes? Well, I'm going to actually answer this question a little bit differently at first. So I do love, of course, the oracle card decks created by Doreen Virtue. And I absolutely love the oracle card decks created by, among others, Tony Carmine Salerno, Alana Fairchild, Stacey DeMarco. And I have come to love the two tarot/oracle card decks created by well-known psychic medium John Holland. In fact, there are two of the decks that I'm using for readings between the most recent new moon, which was exactly 7 days ago, the new moon in Leo on Sunday, July 23rd, and the next dark moon, which I don't remember the date offhand, but it's the night before the next new moon. And I love everything about those oracle card decks. I believe it or not, I do not have all of Tony Carmine Salerno's oracle card decks. All of them did not draw me, which I found a little disappointing, but you know, that happens. So I wanted to start answering that question with that. As I mentioned in my Tarot Tag 8 video, or my hashtag Tarot Tag 8 video, I do love, I also love oracle card decks that have an angelic theme, that have a goddess theme, that have a witchy theme, magical theme, pagan theme. I do love oracle card decks that have bright or deep, rich jewel tones. And I also love oracle card decks that, you know, it's funny, I also love oracle card decks that have 78 cards. There are not a lot of them out there. In fact, the only one that I can think of offhand is called Symbolon, which I don't remember the names of the two people who created it, or rather co-created it, but it was illustrated by a woman named Thea Weller. Now, how could I forget a name like that? Because number one, Thea, actually that's the correct pronunciation, Thea is Greek, it means goddess. So her name literally means goddess. And Weller is like somebody who dwells in a well, I guess. So, but it's called Symbolon. Capital S as in Sam, Y, M as in Michael, B as in Barry, O, L, O, N as in Nathaniel. Symbolon, or Symbolon. And it is the first, and it's one of the very few oracle card decks or divination decks out there that have exactly 78 cards. Now, those of us that use the Sacred Tarot, we know that traditionally tarot decks have 78 cards. So I was like, I mean, it was like culture shock for me at first. And I'm long overdue to do a review of that deck, but let me tell you, it is a very unique deck. It's a very unusual deck. And I remember one of my very first tarot course students said that she uses that deck when she's feeling lazy. Like when she doesn't want to work with her spirit guides and guardian angels, and she wants to give an incredibly easy to read reading, she uses that deck. And I think that put me off a little bit, and that's one of the reasons why I use that deck so infrequently. I mean, I honestly don't remember the last time I gave a reading with that deck. Go figure. Okay, so question number 3. Do you use oracle card decks with tarot cards? As a matter of fact, I do. Lately, with my private clients, I've been using an oracle card deck to open the reading, a tarot deck, and then an oracle card deck to close the reading. However, there have been times when I have a regular client who lives in Queens, which is one of the boroughs of New York City, and several occasions this year I've used a tarot deck and an oracle card deck in the same reading. And basically what would happen is I would lay out a certain number of tarot cards, I would lay out a certain number of oracle cards, and then when she wanted to ask any additional questions, I would either pull a card from the tarot deck, pull a card from the oracle card deck, or both, meaning one from each deck. It worked very well, and I don't do it all the time. But the few times that I've been divinely guided to use a tarot deck with an oracle card deck, I find that it works very well for my clients and it works very well for me. So I would say if you've been thinking about taking the plunge and using, well, in the case of this video, a tarot deck with an oracle card deck, please do so. Let me know how it went, and in the comments and all that other good stuff. Okay. Question number 4. Do you use oracle card decks with other divination systems? Palmistry, runes, etc. For right now, the answer is no. However, I did have an idea for the next Black Mirror Salon at Catland. And I'm toying with the idea, and I'm seriously considering doing it. So, as I've mentioned in previous videos, at the Black Mirror Salons, I offer oracle card readings, I offer palm readings, and I offer rune readings. So what I'm thinking of doing is what I'm calling a divination sampler. Given there are 3 different divination systems, it would have to be a half-hour reading. I couldn't see myself doing this as a 15-minute reading because to go from one divination system to another in 5 minutes, it seems too chaotic for me. I know some of you thrive on chaos. I'm not one of them. Anyway, but in my mind, the divination sampler is basically 10 minutes of oracle card reading, 10 minutes of palmistry, and 10 minutes of runes or rune castings. And it seems to work very well in my mind. And if a client wanted to have an hour reading at the Black Mirror Salon with a divination sampler, then it would be 20 minutes of oracle card reading, 20 minutes of palmistry, and 20 minutes of runes, which works really well. I mean, the more I'm talking about it, the more it makes sense. But right now, I do not use oracle card readings or give oracle card readings with any other divination system other than tarot. But who knows? That might change after this video. And I have been feeling led to use the pendulum again, but I'm very picky about pendulums. Like, they can't be just any pendulum. Even if it's my favorite gemstones, it's like it really has to like draw me. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna use the pendulum with this reading. So yeah. Number 5. Which oracle card decks do you use most often right now? Well, right now, the one that I'm using most often for my own daily draws is this one, Angels of Abundance Oracle Cards, which is Doreen Virtue's newest oracle card deck. And I will go out of frame for a moment and come back into frame right now, or soon to be right now. Hello again. This remains my personal favorite of Doreen Virtue's oracle card decks, Goddess Guidance Oracle cards. And this is a deck that I use fairly often. I would say of all my oracle card decks, it's the one I use the most. As you can see, you know, this happens with the decks that I use most often. You know, I don't listen to CDs as often as I once did, but you know, if you usually see a few cracks on the top of the case or the bottom of the case or both, you know that I've listened to that CD repeatedly. The decks that I use most often, you see this, you see this. I've taped. You can barely see the tape, but the tape is there. This will need to be taped again, obviously. I love using the boxes because I really love the sturdiness of the boxes that are used for oracle cards. The boxes that are used for tarot decks, for the most part, are not that sturdy, and that's how it is. And I'm not gonna like reinvent the wheel or whatever. And I do love, these are the two that I mentioned earlier. I know that John Holland does have another tarot oracle card deck. I don't have it yet, believe it or not. I don't even remember the title of it again, believe it or not. But I love using these two. I love that they're larger than standard size. I'm also drawn to how decks that tend to combine tarot and oracle cards. So these are three that I use fairly often, that I use relatively often. I usually do use Doreen Virtue's Oracle card decks most often, but I've been divinely guided to use other people's Oracle card decks a little more often. Okay. Question number 6. Any new and exciting Oracle card decks for you? Well, this one, Angels of Abundance Oracle cards. And also, I must admit, there is an Oracle card deck, which is also a kind of combination, or rather hybrid tarot and Oracle card deck, that I've been getting excited about again, because it needs to be my next card deck review video. In fact, I've been in communication with the person who created it on several occasions via email. I love her energy. I don't even remember how I found out about her website. But I do remember I asked her permission to review the deck in both my WordPress blog and my YouTube channel. She said yes. She wanted to see everything beforehand. I said that was okay. And I'm finally getting back on track with deck review videos because they are one of my personal favorite kinds of videos for my YouTube channel. I love them so much. And I really want to honor the great advice that my awesome audiovisual tech person gave me in making them pop more and making them more visually appealing. But it is a work-intensive recommendation, but I still want to honor it because I honor him and I honor everything he does for me. So I'm also, and of course, you know, I know that Blue Angel Gallery has some really super cool Oracle card decks coming up, and I cannot wait to use them as well. And okay, question number 7. What is your next step regarding Oracle card decks? So let's say, for example, are you thinking about working with a new one? Are you looking forward to... Oh, that is a typo. I'm so glad I didn't print that. Are you looking forward to Oracle card decks that are going to be published soon, or that are going to be published next year? So what is it? So I'm going to simplify the question number 7. There are spirits all around this apartment, so it's like every once in a while it's like, oh, there's somebody there. Okay. Let me simplify question number 7, and I'll make it look prettier and more legible when I upload it. So, what do you want to do with either an Oracle card deck or your personal favorite Oracle card decks? And here are some examples. So, are you thinking about creating an Oracle card deck? Are you studying to become an illustrator and then illustrate an Oracle card deck? Are you considering using an Oracle card deck for a spell or a ritual? Are you looking at a particular Oracle card deck, or looking at several possible Oracle card decks to use for meditation and introspection? Are there Oracle card decks that you use just for yourself and nobody else? So any one of those questions, that's question number 7 for you. So it's like a more free-form question number 7. I'll let you decide which one you want to answer. If you want to answer them all, that would make me deliriously happy. But don't feel that you have to answer all of them. And, okay. So there is a spirit somewhere in this apartment, and it's distracting both my awesome audiovisual person and me. So I'm going to start wrapping up this video. Okay, so my trusty index cards. So if you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I invite you to do so. If you have not already scheduled a reading with me, I invite you to do so as well. Interestingly enough, I have no appointments in November. I have appointments in October of 2017. I have appointments in December of 2017. I have none in November. I find that a bit odd. Actually, I find that bizarre. That will change probably after this video. And there is something that I'm going to give you all of you. This is not really a teaser. It's going to come across as a teaser, and I apologize for that. I know that some of you have been traumatized by readers, and that is something that I am going to be addressing in an upcoming video. My intention is to have that video be uploaded sooner than later, and I think that it needs to be addressed. And truth be told, I want to acknowledge one of my favorite people on the planet. Her name is Michelle. She is Swan of Dreamers, and I also want to thank her for talking to me about it and for telling me how much of I don't want to use the word issue, but how much of a thing this is with her, how much of an upset this is for her. And truth be told, it never occurred to me to discuss it, because I don't usually attract clients that have been traumatized by other readers, which is ironic considering that I'm also an energy healing practitioner, and any client who needs deep healing would come to me. But I feel that there are some people that have been reluctant to avail themselves of my psychic services because they've been traumatized by readers in the past. And that is definitely something that I feel that I need to discuss. My intention is that it be anywhere from 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 videos, but I do not want to beat a dead horse. I do not want to create and upload 78 videos on how to deal with you being traumatized by a reader in the past, because I don't feel that that's necessary. I don't feel that that needs to be done. I don't feel that I need to do that. Maybe somebody else feels the need to create 78 videos on how to heal from being traumatized by a reader. So I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm really not. Every once in a while, something happens in my apartment that I find it just makes me want to crack up, and of course it lightens a serious mood, and when I want to be serious, I want to remain serious. And I know that Coyote Trickster made sure that happened, and whatever. So YouTube, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. I wish you many blessings, many gifts, many miracles, and much needed and much desired radiance, healing, prosperity, and peace.